Anything about that good-looking fellow that's over there?
Sunny.
You know what I mean?
You're a handsome fella. That's what we love about you. Welcome to the UnLearn show, Tofe. Jeez, to the whole audience out there, we talk about breaking bad habits with a purpose. Tofe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate the intro, and thank you guys for having me. So I guess unlearning on my end has been something that I've learnt, ironically, in part of that, more about myself every day. I guess my journey comes from like a mental health background. I used to struggle really badly with depression, anxiety, because I wasn't happy with the person I was. So I would mask that with a lot of drugs and alcohol. And over time, that's just got worse and worse. And before I know it, it's, and I'll be real here, like suicide does seem like the only answer for that, because it just became too much. I didn't know how to be vulnerable as a male. I guess, I don't know if any other males can relate to this, how we've been taught to what masculinity is. It's like hide your emotions, you can't cry, all this kind of stuff. And when that time came for me, everything started to implode. It was kind of like, have you guys ever seen when you put like a Mentos into a Coke bottle and it just erupts? I was the Coke bottle, and it happened to me over several times. And having to unlearn, I guess, what masculinity was, what I perceived as masculinity, that's probably lesson number one for me. And over time, it's unlearning how to deal with attachment and unlearning how to, there are so many things. I guess how I treat people, because that was a big issue I was dealing with. I wasn't happy with the person I was. So I was treating people through a mirrored projection the exact same way. And for me, at the end, it was like, I got to first of all, I need to take care of myself. I need more self-love than anything. I need more self-care than anything. That entire self-concept, right? Self-belief, self-actualization, self-realization. When I started working on that, it kind of made me the person who I am today. So I'm actually very grateful to go through all that. And that obviously helped me in business. That's helped me in sport. And it's probably helped me more in relationships and the relationship with myself, if anything.
Now, so question, because we kind of have similar backgrounds as far as with drugs and alcohol and with mental health. Do you ever find yourself in dark places now? And what do you do if you do find yourself in dark places still?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, last year I came across a bit of not an episode as dark as the ones I went through like years ago, but I guess when I picked up on it, there was still things from my childhood that I hadn't processed properly. And there were things that just triggered me, really bad triggers. And I hadn't worked on those before because I was living through denial. Like, I got this. But I never addressed the issue. For those kind of situations, how I do them, how do I kind of snap myself out of it? I go to I still go to therapy, and I think everyone should have a therapist. And that's like a psychologist I'm very close with, and also a men's group I go through like on a regular. And these are guys that I can openly cry with, like literally, and just if I'm going through any anger or fear or shame or anything, I can process with those guys. So that's been a massive help to deal with it, because that physical connection, as a heterosexual male, is actually very healthy to have other males around me where I can just be so open about it. So that's helped me a lot, and just, I guess, being around good people and a lot of self-love as well.
Yeah. And I already did this once today, but I really want to drive this home for people. I think it's really important that you said that everybody should have a psychologist, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there's such a stigma around it for people. And I think it's such an important thing to highlight, that it's not normal. Like, that doesn't make you a weak person. It doesn't make you not normal, right? And so walk us through kind of when you hit rock bottom, like how did you crawl out of that? Like what were the steps you took at that point?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of crawling. Pun intended. When I look back at it, something, there was like one of three or more than three things that were kind of driving it. It was like there was either an abandonment issue there I was dealing with, a powerlessness thing, or a worthlessness, and it's probably all three of those actually working together in a myriad of emotion. The go-to coping mechanism for me is sleep. Like I'll sleep crazy. I'll sleep 20 every hour of the day if I have to, if I'm going through a really tough time, because I'm trying to deal with that. But that's when I know something's happening now, because I've gone through it. It's like, okay, I'm aware of what's something going on. Nowadays, I always, whatever the foods I'm eating, because if I'm going through something tough, I'll just pig out like crazy as well, and I'll put on a few kilos within no time. People deal with their, I guess, their demons in different ways. I've learned that, and you guys probably like have seen some of the running stuff that I've spoken of before. Like running's helped me a lot, just because the community side, like I mentioned with the men's group, I will meet some incredible people, male and female, that I can just be open with, and just because it's funny how humans are wired neurobiologically through connection and story. And when you can connect with someone on a rock bottom level, not only does that remove the notion of, oh my God, I feel alone, but it's like, yeah, I can tell we can be lifelong friends because we can speak our truths and no one's going to feel judged. So I always have to go back and have those people around me. And obviously the physical exercise helps immensely. I think there's enough science out there to not have to make me explain the good and the dopamine rushes and all that. But it's a constant work in progress. There are times where I'll go through a tough time, and that's okay. I think that's important to go through those emotions, because I've learned that if I'm going through that, it makes me very compassionate. That's the beauty of going through so much grief. You become very compassionate to those that are going through a tough time, and just the empathy. There's empathy there. But I've learned as well. I came across a bit of an episode last year where I forgot about myself because I was just focusing on everyone. And that was because my people pleasing was through the roof. So I have to do things for myself first. I can't save the world. I have to save myself, and hopefully that empowers other people. So for me, it always comes back down to itself. If that makes sense. Yeah.
So you make a couple really good points, but I want to get a clearer image of everything that you do to be the resilient person that you are, right? And that's, you mentioned, we all know you as that adrenaline guy, right? The guy who pushes through those limits. And how do you balance out, like you said, your coping mechanism is sleeping. Mine is too, because my body's telling me I need rest. Usually depression means deep rest for me, right? So how do you balance out that requirement of self-care and pushing through it? You know, like how do you accept it and acknowledge it and treat it and then move forward?
That's an awesome question, Chantal. For me, how I've dealt with it, it has to be a curiosity thing. If I know if I want to push the limits is going to better me for my growth, as opposed to running away from something. And so, for example, if I'm using something to push through, to run away from that, I'm still not addressing the core issue there. But I know this is going to sound really abstract at first, but for example, if I'm into marathons and now I'm running these big, long ultra marathons, it's just because I want to see how far I can push myself. That's no longer a coping mechanism in a way, because sport was never really a coping mechanism from the start. It was an escapism at first, as I was dealing with it, but it started to like rewire for good habits. That had to reverse engineer to go, all right, for me to get that, I have to have better sleep. And it gave me purpose as well. I think when I was going through a tough time, and if anyone is going through a tough time, they might be maybe lacking a bit of purpose, or they might be going for the wrong things. I'm not entirely sure what's going on in their end. But once I was able to recalibrate and retweak it, it did help a lot more for that kind of situation. Does that make sense at all?
It does. It does make sense. But a follow-up question there is, you mentioned earlier that you've been up since 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Yeah, because went to go climbing with the guys in the mountain nearby, but it
What
was
time do
rain.
you go to sleep?
Oh, I felt maybe like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Okay. That's a decent night of sleep. That's good rest.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Just curious to start your day earlier. You know, there's a lot of early birds that really want to accomplish a lot more. So having that
yeah, because the mountain is like, if we climb, we can get up early and we can see an awesome sunrise. That was
that's so cool. Very cool. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
So if there's a lot of people that seem to be either dealing with depression and anxiety more these days, or it's just either that, or it's okay to talk about it more. I'm not sure which one it really is, but I'm curious what you tell people who are younger that haven't really fully matured and really figured out who they are, who are still dealing with stuff like this. Is that something that you come across, or what would you tell someone younger?
Yeah, I think that's because mine usually had stemmed from a younger period. I guess from a series of events just caused like a chain reaction, and it's funny. Like, I think it comes back to what you said before, Jake. It's like, I think because it is more socially acceptable to talk about it, um, it's creating a conversation, right? It's creating more awareness for people to go, look, I'm going through something right now as well, which is a good thing, because at least that's kind of making more of an impetus for people to kind of speak more of their truth in their mind. Because even as males, look, we have feelings. There's nothing wrong with talking about them. I guess with the younger generation, we also have to take into consideration where it's just natural that I think mid-20s, I think for average male and female, like the brain's still developing. So have you ever noticed, like, if anyone can relate to this, when we were in high school, doing something that may lead to consequences, we're more likely to do it then than we are now. And it's because like I guess all the repercussions, all that side of the brain hasn't fully developed yet. So even, I guess, the other parts of the brain is still trying to develop at the same time. So I feel like it's that part at the same time. It's probably like it's a hard one to try and have a full answer for, right? I don't actually know what the actual answer should be for this, but at the end, what I've learned with people that have gone through a tough time, old or young, the ones that have managed to get past that block or that sort of resistance end up becoming very grateful for the people they are today because of that. That's so at the end of the day, if you do come across it, it's going to be a good thing, because you can have powerful lessons, not for yourself, but for others to pass on to. But I guess that's my best kind of answer for that, even though it's not the easiest of questions to answer.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to know, you've said it a couple times, and I actually really like this, like what you keep saying is the speak your truth or know your truth. What is that? Can you tell people like what that means to you when you say that, like when you think that?
And I think I'm still on the journey to get the full exact answer, but for me, there's a lot of humility involved. It's like I had an amazing quote the other day, and it's like, don't sanitize your story. And meaning it's okay to keep it rough around the edges, because it's human. It's so human when you keep it that way. So that's why I came in and just like, all guns blazing, all guns like blazing. I'll be completely honest about that stuff, because I'm going for the intent of, I know people out there is going to relate to it somehow, so they're not going to feel alone if they come across this. And that's what it is. It's going with how it exactly happened at the time, without prettying it up. It's okay. Like, I think what's important is the comeback, if anything. Like, you know what? whether it's a rags to riches, or it's I lost my limbs and I'm doing all these crazy events, or I lost everything and now I've managed to get this. Whatever it is, it's okay to, whatever those dark times, just speak those, because it makes it really relative, because everyone goes through some sort of hell. And I know every one of you guys have, because we've had one-on-one conversations, and some of you, everyone here has incredible stories. There's not one unique, and you can't measure and compare any of them. And I think when we all look back at and reflect on those times, it's like, damn, I went through hell. I'm so grateful I am the person I am today because of those. Yeah.
So Toph, just leading off of what you just said, each one of us thinks the world of you. And the question that I want to ask you is for those that don't know you. So what is it that drives you to scale? At the very beginning, you talked about, I didn't know how to be vulnerable. What drives you to share your story with everyone else? Like, it's self-development, you want to take care of yourself and you want to get it, but what drives you? Like, at the end of the day, if you don't share your story, do you feel that you failed? I mean, do you feel that you didn't succeed? What is that core of why do you have to share your story?
That's a great question, man. For me, if I ever get the opportunity to be on a podcast like this, or anywhere said when someone just asked like a normal question of like, what's your story? For me to make it relative to just because everyone does go through a tough time every day, and not everyone has the ability or wants to speak their truth until there's a catalyst of some sort. So for me, if I am able to talk about those moments, like, and there's that instant thought of, damn, it's not just me. That's like such an incredible feeling. So that's the reason why I do it. And sometimes when I'm speaking, something else will come out that I didn't expect. And it's like, oh, didn't expect to see that one coming. And then I'll look back at it and I'll process it from there. Because there's been times like that. It's like if I'm ever journaling and I'm like, oh, and I'll just let the pen and the heart do the talking, or the writing. And so it's the same thing if I'm ever speaking. There might be a time where, like, for example, I'll be real here. I did a big race in Scotland last year, and I had to pull out with like 40 miles to go, and every insecurity decided to come up as well with that. And I was in a dark place for like a couple months. It was tough, and it seemed like old habits were coming back and triggers. But if I didn't go through those moments, then I would never have learned from until later on in life. And it's like, good, and I'm not saying they might not come back, but I'm always constantly working. I'm very conscious of those. So is that, hopefully that's the right answer for your question, Sonny.
What did you do? What did you do to overcome that dark moment in Scotland? And when you came into that dark space again, what did you do to get past it?
It was actually after Scotland when it all happened. It was like, I guess, when time had gone by. What did I do? Well, at first I thought sleep was the answer. And then I was just lying to myself. It would have been, I think it would have been that men's group I mentioned before, and he just came across out of them serendipitously. It would have been, I guess, having an incredible support system around me. It would have been realizing why I'm doing this from the start. Sometimes I felt like when I'm getting lost and I'm in tunnel vision in the wrong way, I need to recalibrate why I'm doing things and why I was doing things in the first place. So that always helps as well.
So Toph, we're going to open it up for the co-hosts if there's any final questions, and if there isn't, for the next probably 5 or 6 minutes, we're going to turn it over to you if you have anything else that you would either like to ask of us, or if there's anything else you'd like to share with the community. So anything else, co-hosts?
I just wanted to ask, like, I know for people who struggle with mental health, like, it's not something that just goes away. Is there something daily that you do that, like, you stick to, or do you have some sort of regimen that you stick to? I know you've kind of talked about like running and your group and stuff like that, but is there anything else that you do that helps you?
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually got a bit of a routine now. I'll wake up. I will and I know you relate to this one, Katie, with Aubrey Marcus. I'll make his little cocktail where it's like the lemon juice and the sea salt. I'll do that. I can see you on mute. Yes. I will make my bed first thing in the morning. And I'll also probably do like 5 to 10 minutes of meditation. Just not obviously focusing on the breath, but focusing on how my body is feeling. Because humans are thinking creatures that can feel, not feeling creatures that can think. So it's like, get out of my head and get it back into my body. I have a daily affirmation I listen to. So I'll do that. That helps immensely. Just to rewire the internal dialogue that's going on. And
I think this is the point where you've got a few minutes for yourself. If there's something that you'd like to ask for us, or if there's something that you'd like to say that is new and exciting in your world. I know you're embarking on something new with some other folks in Australia. The floor is yours for the next 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I do have a question for you guys first before I guess do the shameless plug. What is the biggest thing you guys have learned about yourself since doing the UnLearn group? Not to thought provoke you guys or anything, but yeah, and girls.
I guess I can go first. Okay, so not necessarily unlearning on UnLearn, because I feel like I'm unlearning something every day. I'm breaking bad habits because I have a lot of bad habits, let's be honest. But the idea, like just the amazing people that we've met since starting UnLearn, and the fact that these people let us into their lives. They like literally open their doors in their heart, let us dive in and become family. And in fact, one of our guests, and I'm not going to say who, but he had just because of an episode, he had such a massive just lesson and hold on my heart that I hit a really, really dark spot a few months ago. And it was because of that person and that conversation that completely flipped the switch for me. So it's amazing. You never know what you're going to hear, who you're going to meet, and just how people just let you in. It's amazing.
I think I'm unlearning that I think I'm learning that I have a lot more to unlearn. And I thought that I had already a lot to unlearn, but it's like way more than that. And like, even right now I'm just like, I'm not even going to talk about it just because I can't, but like, I'm just in a really dark place as far as how I'm feeling, but I know that it's not forever, which like you're talking about it could be something that would turn into a year. So I stick to my routine like you're talking about, even though like my physiology is not matching up with like how I'm thinking. I'm like staying objective and like I know the truth about it, but like everything, like just like depression, it just hits you hard and like you just feel numb kind of. And so yeah, I'm just learning that I have a lot more to unlearn than previously expected and thought.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I guess kind of same-ish. Like, it's weird because you continue on this journey and you think that you are figuring yourself out or you're figuring things out, and then all of a sudden something will come up and you're like, oh shit, I have nothing figured out. Like, I have nothing figured out and I am on completely the wrong path. Like, and I feel it in my bones that I'm like going down this path, and you're like thinking that you're doing everything right, and then all of a sudden you have this clarity that it's like, no, I need to make some big changes. And I think doing the UnLearn show for me has helped with understanding that a lot of people go through that. And it's not just me. Like, I'm not effed up, and I'm not like so far out there because I don't know myself well enough. Like, it's really great to hear people say, you know what, I don't got my shit figured out, like, at all. That's fantastic. And that's what I've really taken from this show. And I hope to like spread to other people is like, you don't have to have your shit figured out. Like, you don't. And it's a constant work in progress. It's a constant leveling up game. And there's resources and there's people, and you're not alone, you know? So, yeah, I don't know if that's unlearning or learning or a little bit of both. but yeah.
So I would mimic everything that's been said. Of course, so much to unlearn. And on Strength Finders, my number one strength is connectedness. So this is like heaven for me. Like, I love every week getting to see how we're all similar and different. And so it's fantastic. And I think maybe something else I've learned besides the unlearning thing is that you can build relationships in minutes if you're willing to be transparent and genuine with each other. Because there's people that I've met through doing this, including all the people that are right here, who I consider real friends and LinkedIn family. But people who've come on that I'd never met before the episode that I have a genuine relationship with now, just because of the way that they opened up. I was completely able to go shoot them a message and say, hey, I did this same thing. Let's talk some more. You know, so it's fantastic.
Love it, man.
I think that everything that everybody else said on this, hands down, just imagine this, if you will, Toph. We never would meet each other. There's no way in the realm of reason would I meet a Wisconsinite, you know, 2 Texans, a gal from Montana. We had a dude from California. We've got an Aussie on here. The world is small. It really is a small place. But I think hands down, the biggest takeaway is that there are people that are out there that just have this inner essence or this core value of when you connect with them, you connect with them. Just like what Jake said, just what Chantel, Katie, and Lacey said, and each and every one of our guests. And we hope people out there are watching it and taking something away from it, because I think the world is changing. I think people want to hear this kind of thing. You know, like you're raw. You talked about the unfiltered, right? Just saying, here's the vulnerability of it. So, you know, for me personally, this is family right here. You know, we may not talk on a daily basis. We may not talk on a weekly basis, but if any one of these people on this call or on this Zoom call right now texted me or said, hey, I need some help, like that, I'd be there for them. I'd be there to pick up the phone and say, what do you need? You know, and I know they would do the same for me, right? And for our guests, we feel the exact same way about them as well. Unequivocally.
I love that.
So with further ado, Toph, thank you so much. We appreciate you being a guest on the UnLearn show.
Wait, Sonny. He didn't do his shameless plug yet. Toph, shameless plug. Go.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. So Toph, you've got some big stuff going on in Australia. Thank you, Lacey. Toph, tell us about a couple of your friends out in Australia, what's going on, and what can the world expect from you and your friends?
Yeah, sure, man. I appreciate that. So 3 other people, 1 girl and 2 other guys and myself, we've created something called the Next Gen Movement. And how it'll happen is to do with connectedness, right? Kind of going off what Jake said before. Very similar kind of project, but originally the 3 of us guys, we connect because of a rock bottom level, right? We connected because of adversity. And I don't know if you can break that. So it's something so beautiful. And we were always talking about how the people that we've learned from are mentors. The majority of the time that from the 3 of us guys had. and we were talking about like, what if there's a way we can give back? And something that's something that means lots to me, giving back. But I was giving back by putting my body through anywhere between 20 to 40 endurance events a year, and that can't really sustain that. I'll do a few a year now, but I'm doing it for myself. And so what if there was a way that we can interview top people in the world and just give back that way? And it's because we want to, like, what are the generations to come? What is it that we want to see the change there? So we would interview people, and whether it's, and at the end, we always ask, like, what is the one piece of game-changing advice that you can give to the next generation and to the next generation? Because there is this talk of millennials need to learn from older people and vice versa. Like, I think there should be a blend of both, of not just millennials, but the generations come, because you can learn from everyone. So it comes from a shared experience and shared learning kind of environment, and learning about people in their darkest times of whatever they've done. So what can we learn from those situations and pass that on to whoever's listening? So essentially we've done it just through a YouTube channel. We'll put it out on LinkedIn. But we're just known as Next Gen Movement. So next, NXT, GEN, and MVMT. So it's very millennial driven. But so that's essentially what we've done. And we just wanted to create this kind of eco where people can learn from shared experiences for all generations. That's it.
Well, we appreciate that. And once again, I think we would love to, as co-hosts here, at some point, if we can help out and anybody on the UnLearn crew can help your group in the future, just let us know. We'd be happy to be a part of whatever it is that you're trying to do to scale and help and impact other people.
No, that would be awesome. I appreciate it, guys. I'm actually going to probably take up that offer. Not right now, but I think later on. No, I appreciate every one of you guys and girls for bringing me on this. And yeah, I got Sunny's message. I was like, hell yeah, I'm so in for that. I haven't seen you guys in ages.
Yes.
Thanks.
We love you, Toph.
Love you, man.
Love you.
You guys too.
Thanks
So
for coming
thank
on.
you so much. We appreciate it, and have a wonderful rest of your day, my friend.
Thank you.